I've been seeing a lot of discussions and posts related to Madoka Magica lately, probably due to the announcement of the upcoming Walpurgis Knot movie, and I wanted to take a quick moment to do an analysis video on the characters Sayaka and Kyoko.
Yay!
My name is A Tree, and I do anime and cosplay related content. If you like that, please watch this video. When you're done watching this video, check out my other stuff. Recently, I saw a TikTok showing a lot of like the little small details in the main series. You know how some people, they'll get obsessed with a specific show or movie and then they'll pinpoint every hidden detail in the background. I saw a TikTok pointing out some little secret in the background between the fight of Sayaka and Kyoko, and that got me inspired to do a video talking about the development of their relationship. And I feel like there's so much I could say on this, but I do want to stick only with the main show, so I'm not going to be talking about any of the extra movies and stuff, just to make things easy for me. And if this video does well and you want more stuff about Madoka Magica, I will do a more deeper analysis, including those movies and extra content. Quick warning, this video does include spoilers, so if you haven't watched Madoka Magica already, please do so before watching this video. These two characters often butt heads in the main show, and it probably stems from the reason why they even made their wishes to begin with, and the way that they live their lives as magical girls as a result of those wishes. Their relationship transforms from enemies to a closer friendship. Everyone always wants to talk about Madoka and Homura, and I totally get that because they're like the main characters, but I really want to take a moment to bring attention to Kyoko and Sayaka. When I am talking about these two characters, it doesn't necessarily that I'm claiming that their relationship is inherently romantic, but I do believe that their bond is definitely something more complicated. Maybe it's because I've been in the community for a while, that's why I probably find a side kind of relationship dynamic more interesting than the main one. If you look anywhere related to Madoka Magica, you're going to be seeing everyone talking about Homura and Madoka. Let's talk about how Kyoko and Sayaka have made their wishes before becoming magical girls. I feel like we can all agree that Sayaka's wish is inherently selfish. Even though it is a selfless wish, I guess, her intentions are not exactly as pure as they seem. After she becomes this magical girl, she follows this type of self-harming behavior pattern to try to convince herself that she's a good person. Sayaka wants to be with, I believe the guy character's Kyosuke. When Sayaka makes her wish, she wishes him back to health, but in reality she is hoping deep down that she ends up being with him after when Kyosuke gets healed, he doesn't end up dating Sayaka. I wouldn't go as far as to say that she regrets healing Kyosuke, but I also wouldn't call her a bad person either. But I do genuinely believe that what she truly, deeply desired was to end up with him, and yet that's not the wish she gave. After becoming a magical girl, she hunts down witches, not necessarily for their greed seeds. You know how some witches can make like these little baby witches, but they don't, before they turn into witches, they don't really have a greed seed yet, and they kind of like multiply. Kiyoko likes to do is that she waits until a greed seed develops, whereas Sayaka doesn't believe in that because she believes that it could still harm people, and she wants to be like mommy, who she looks up to as this selfless savior who helps people. And so Sayaka, like this knight in shining armor, wants to go around hunting down witches anyway, regardless on whether or not it benefits her. It's kind of stems from this sort of self-harm I do believe that this act is not only done to harm herself, because it's obviously just further deteriorating her mental health, but also to try to convince herself that she's a good person. Like, see, I'm saving people, I'm a good person. I made that wish because I genuinely wanted to help Kiyoko, not because I wanted anything in return. But let's be real, she definitely wanted a little more than just good intentions. With Kiyoko, we get a little bit more backstory on the reason why she became a magical girl, even though we didn't see it firsthand. She explains that she made her wish for somebody else as well, which was her father, the priest, because she wanted other people to be able to listen to him. That wish didn't end very well, as you all know, once her father realizes that people were only listening to him because of her wish and not because of his actual preaching, he goes crazy. I do believe that part of the reason why Kiyoko made that wish wasn't also completely selfless either. I feel as though she was probably being emotionally neglected by her father and only wished to be a happy family, and for that to happen she hoped that he would be happy, and that obviously didn't develop into the way that she expected it to. This is exactly what motivates Kiyoko to live as a magical girl more selfishly, which is kind of mirrors Sayaka in a way, where they both have very similar stories, and yet they express themselves differently as magical girls, where Sayaka's tend to be drown herself in her own guilt, whereas Kiyoko, she ends up tries to live her life without regrets and tries to live her life for herself instead of other people. When we, the audience, learn Kyoko's story, Sayaka ends up having a heart-to-heart with Kiyoko, and that's when they start to understand each other. It makes sense why these two magical girls would bump heads so often, because of how conflicting their values are as magical girls, but I also find it like a cherry on top that their colors are also kind of opposing, like red being, you know, a warmer tone, fire and all that, and then Sayaka being blue, on which is like not direct opposites on the color wheel, but not touching either, and blue being more water. I feel like even though Sayaka was rejecting kind of Kyoko's attempts to get closer to her, that they've kind of reached a more deeper understanding of each other. I find it such a perfect tragedy the way they both die together. Kyoko throughout the show tries harder and harder to reach Sayaka to help her, and just for her to spiral and end up turning into a witch to, I guess, save Sayaka in a way, or cleanse Sayaka from herself, is that Kyoko ends up dying with her. It is so beautifully tragic, but also reminds me of this one, I guess, like saying or thing that I've heard people, metaphor that I've heard people use when one person is drowning, that the other person tries to save them but ends up being dragged down with them. And that kind of feels like a perfect metaphor for what happened with Kiyoko and Sayaka. That Kiyoko tried harder and harder to save Sayaka, and it only pushed Sayaka further away, just for them to both end up having a tragic end. If you have your own thoughts on Kiyoko and Sayaka's relationship dynamic, or if you'd like to take this opportunity to rant about Madoka Magica yourself in my comments, go ahead. If you love my character analysis, I have similar videos on my channel, or if you want to see more, please let me know. I am a tree, and thank you. And I suck at outros. I do not know how to end videos. How do people do that? I don't know. Bye!